Final Fantasy XIII is obviously the 13th mainline title in the Final Fantasy series. Having released in Japan in 2009 and a year later worldwide, this eagerly awaited title was met with much praise and many criticisms amongst the gaming community, with many critics claiming the game is too linear, with cringy characters that don't act or react in consistent ways. While I won't argue that the game is linear, I will say that its linearity is not necessarily a bad thing, and can still be enjoyed regardless of its linearity. As for the characters, well, I can understand why people may not like the cringy anime vibe that the characters give off occasionally. However, I find it rather charming. Except for Hope. His scenes have me feeling secondhand embarrassment sometimes. Despite this, I still love Hope as a character, as he plays a vital role in the story. And as for characters not acting or reacting in a manner that is consistent with their character, well, I don't exactly agree with that. I'm just gonna say it, I don't believe there is anything fundamentally wrong with any of the characters in Final Fantasy XIII. They all act in believable ways that make sense for the harsh circumstances they find themselves in. Despite some criticisms, the game went on to sell 1.7 million copies in 2009 just in Japan. And as of 2017, the game has sold over 7 million copies worldwide, while also being the fastest selling title in the history of the series. Final Fantasy XIII is important to me for a couple of reasons. The first reason requires some backstory. 13 years ago, yes, 13 years ago, I went to my dad's house to spend time with him and my brother over the weekend. When I arrived, I found my brother playing this super cool video game that I had never heard or seen before. Yes, you guessed it, that game was Assassin's Creed II. But after spending the weekend playing Assassin's Creed II and Soul Calibur 4 with my brother, it was time for me to leave. As I was packing up my stuff to head home, my brother rushed out of his room, handed me a game, and told me I could keep it. He said the game was too challenging for him, and he wanted to see if I could find a way to overcome it. That game was Final Fantasy XIII, a gift from my older brother that I still have to this day. I first played Final Fantasy XIII when I was about 12 years old, and I remember getting stuck on Snow's Eidolon fight and calling my brother for help. He responded how he usually would. If you're stuck on that fight, there's no way you're gonna beat the rest of the game. But I pushed through and made it to the end of Disc 1. Oh yeah, I played this game on Xbox, which had 3 discs. PlayStation only had 1 disc because PlayStation games were Blu-ray discs, which were capable of holding more data, and I'm getting sidetracked. The point is, I had reached the first major roadblock that most people face, the first Barthandelus fight. I tried and tried so hard to best this fight, but just couldn't do it at the time. I returned to the game many years later when I was about 24 years old, where I finally managed to beat the game, while my brother had revisited the game a few years prior and bested it as well. That was the first reason. Not only was it a gift from my brother, but it was the game that him and I bonded over and eventually overcame the game's challenges. And the second reason Final Fantasy XIII is important to me is because it was my first ever Final Fantasy game, and one of the first JRPGs I have ever played. It's the game that introduced me to one of my favorite gaming series and genres. My love for Final Fantasy opened the door to Kingdom Hearts and Persona, which are 2 of my other favorite game series of all time. Because of the bond I formed with my brother and the incredible games it introduced me to, Final Fantasy XIII will always have a special place in my heart.